Hi, hello. And how are you? I hope you're fantastically well. I hope you're doing great. Hi, my name is Ronnie Jacobs. I am the presenter for the Ronnie J Show. And I hope you're having a good time. I hope you're enjoying yourself or trying to stay safe. And I wish you well. I wish you all bubbly well. It's another fantastic Tuesday. We've got some amazing guests and amazing topic. I always love when we talk about motivational topics that really touches me and I learn from and I soak in all the information. It's like I'm in school, just grabbing all these bits from the air from everyone. I just wish you well and I want you to stay energetic. And I know it's a difficult time for us. I know that we all are going through different challenges. However, the purpose of our programs is for us to communicate, for us to learn, for us to build our capacity, motivate each other, and raise our hopes so that we don't give up and we keep driving towards the next thing. Okay, we got four amazing guests for us today. We got Mr. Joseph Oladele, an amazing mentor and a fantastic coach. We've got Juliet Mapilala, who's an amazing self-developer. She's got a passion for improving and helping people, which I really, really love her for that. She's doing so many things. I hope we can cover as much as we can within the 10 minutes. We've also got two professional life coaches. We've got Hanan Spears and we've also got Angela Gold. These are two professional life coaches that you can contact after the event. Sorry, I keep saying event, after the show. So that way, if you need any help or any support, you can work out something with them. They're just amazing people. Today we're talking about, today's a Tuesday. So Tuesday is always about a topic that's really close to my heart. And I think that it is important that we constantly try to, to develop oneself. It's about self-development, it's about coaching, it's about ensuring that we do the best that we can. Do the best that you can to support each other, to lift each other up in every way that we can. So we're talking about life coaching today. We're looking at how to. I keep struggling. The topic really, what I phrased it is, I keep struggling to follow through on my goals. Why I keep struggling to follow through on my goals? Why do you keep struggling? Why do you keep struggling? Why do you struggle at all to follow through on your goals? Have you asked yourself that? There are three things that come to my mind. As I always say in my shows, I always use myself as an example. I always look at myself and say, okay, Ronnie, what makes you struggle when you're pursuing your goal? What are the things that you struggle with? What are the things that you find challenging? Where do you struggle in life? Where do you struggle and why? And this comes from, like what Sabrina said to us yesterday, all these comes from reflection. When you reflect on what really went wrong, then you can say, oh, I struggle because of X, Y, Z. And for me though, I'll give you a story. There was a time in my life that I was trying various things. I was really trying to find myself, So I was working and I knew that I was earning very good money when I was working financially. I was financially very, very stable. But at the same time, I knew that I wasn't satisfied. I wasn't happy. I really wasn't. I worked the whole day. I used to leave home at 5 and get home at 9 every day. And I had all the perks and all the car, really comfortable job. But I just wasn't happy. I just knew this wasn't me. This really wasn't what I wanted. And then I started searching. Okay, now what am I going to do? How am I going where do I need to go? What's my direction? You got all this gift, you got all these things you want to do, but how are you going to do that? And I was struggling to try and, have a clear picture of where and how to get to where I want to get to. And I remember I spoke to this gentleman, who then was a close friend of mine. I said, listen, I really want to do this. And it was like, what? No way, man. Don't even think about that. I mean, you got this great job and you got all this and all that and blah, blah, blah and blue, blue, blue. You're going to give all that away because you want to go do this uncertain thing. And I went, and I walked away from that conversation thinking, well, he's right. I mean, maybe I'm just being unreal. I'm just being selfish, and I'm just thinking of just myself, and I'm not really being focused on getting the best that I can be from where I am. Do you understand? But when I look back now to then, I keep saying one thing that strikes me is if I had a clearer picture of where I wanted to go then, it would have been easier for me to get to where I wanted to go. It would have been easier for me to follow through on that particular path to achieve what I wanted to achieve. But I didn't have a clearer picture. So if I didn't have a clearer picture for myself, it's very difficult for me to paint that picture to anybody else to really understand where I was going through, or maybe my partner, or maybe my family, or it'd be difficult. So my advice is, before if you're struggling with following through on something, make sure that where you're going, you have a very clear picture of that. Make sure of what you want to achieve and where you want to get to. If it needs me, draw it on a piece of paper and stick it on the wall, or print out a picture and write it and stick it right on the wall, and make sure you see it every single day and describe it to yourself in your mind. Because that's what works for me when I'm going through a kind of like this period now when things will be challenging for everybody. I look back at my picture every time. I've got it right in front of me as we're talking, and it makes me smile again and say, oh yes, this is where we're going to get to. Like the health center we built in Africa, I got a nice picture stuck on the wall, and I look at that all the time and say, oh wow, can't wait for this to be completed. And the different things that I want to do, the 5 key things I want to achieve in life, I've got them stuck on the wall. So I just need to, I've got a call coming in, so I'm just going to cut that call for a bit. So that's quite important. So first of all, I'm going to talk to, before I go to call my second gentleman, I also got another point. Distractions can also move us away from where we want to get to. We get distracted easily, either by the challenges that we have, or the words that have been spoken to us, or the people around us. Those can also be distractions, or other opportunities. You might find other opportunities that just sound so great at that time, and that can also be a distraction. So it's for us to be able to understand that, are these opportunities that are coming now, are they really what I really wanted to do? Because the more successful you get, the more opportunities you get. The more success you get in what you're doing in your journey towards your goal, the more opportunities you get. So you have to be wise enough to decide which of these opportunities am I going to venture in. Otherwise, you're going to stretch yourself so thin by trying to do too many things and get distracted so easily. And finally, excuses. We give a lot of excuses. But I'm going to call this gentleman Mr. Joseph, and then call our fantastic guest, and let's have an amazing time again. My name is Ronnie Jacobs, and you're watching the Ronnie J Show. And please leave a comment below, and I'll take your calls later. Thank you. I can just talk forever. It's just like you want to just keep talking, but it's all good. There we go. And please, before I call this gentleman, I just want to quickly do something to decline this. Quickly do something, and boom. There we go. We're just calling Joseph now. I hope he's home.
Hello.
Hi, Joseph. How are you?
I'm very well. Yourself?
I'm buzzing, man. This is Ronnie Jacobs. You live on the Ronnie J Show, and how are you keeping?
Oh, not bad at all. Getting used to lockdown. Getting used to it. But yeah, all is good.
That's amazing. Today,
And how about yourself?
I'm good. And
Yeah,
just
good stuff.
talking about today, we're talking about goals and how to. I gave some examples of how I struggle sometimes with getting through with my goals. And so I just thought maybe you introduce yourself to the guests, and then have a little talk about that, and then we can just get some questions. Is that okay?
Oh, that's fine. That's all right. My name is Joseph.
Okay, your line seems to be breaking up again. So sorry, say that again, please.
So, do you want me to just
Yes,
carry on?
yes, carry on.
Okay.
Carry on, please.
Oh,
Yes.
all right. Well, goals is something that we set for ourselves if we know what we want,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's the key factor. You know what you want, you set the goal for it. How am I going to get this? And that just actually reminded me of something that happened in my life at some point.
Okay.
That was like about 12 or so years ago, or maybe about 10 years ago, thereabout.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to buy a car.
Okay.
Specifically Toyota Avensis. I love the car so much.
Mm.
And what I did was to print out the picture of the car and stuck it on the wall in my room.
I like
And
that. I
every,
like that.
and every time I just look at it, I say, "Oh yes, that's the car." One day I'll buy the car. And honestly, I bought the car. I love
Wow.
it, and I bought the car. And I
Mm.
think that's the way go should be. You want to achieve something,
Mm.
write it down where you can see. I've been a pastor. I can even give you scripture for that. You
Mm.
have a vision. You
Mm.
write the vision down, and each time you go onto it to read it and say, "Okay, where am I in respect to this vision that I want to achieve?" And in fact, that will keep you in line with your vision. So, because when you have a goal, what you realize is you have so many other things competing with your time, with your resources, and that can completely take you away from your goals in life. But if you have it written down and you are reading it, you're looking at it, and you kind of like doing a tick boxes exercise. What have I done?
Mm.
Where am I?
Mm.
You can always check yourself to where you are and what is the next thing to do. And I think that will keep you focused on it, and it will keep you moving on in that direction.
Do you find though that people will be able to go back to those written goals? Because when you're engulfed with the challenges and the opportunities, it is not easy to just is it not easier to just give up on those things and pursue the because what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is there is a word that says it is easier to do the things that are wrong than to do the things that are right. It is easier to leave those goals and pursue the easy things than face the hard challenge. Can you hear me?
Taken from the scriptures.
Mm.
And it was Apostle Paul that was saying, the things I want to do, I cannot do them. I find myself doing the things that I don't want to do, which is human for you.
Mm.
You have a goal, you want to do it, but one way or the other, you see yourself, diverting away from that goal that you set for yourself. And this is where determination is very important.
Correct.
Determination, you have to determine. And you see, one thing I love about setting goals for myself is I look at the end result. What do I want to get from this thing? The importance of what you are looking at the end of it will actually help you to keep your mind focused on it. What is how important is it?
Correct.
And you'll be able to channel your energy onto it and make sure you reach that goal.
So is there?
But it is very easy. It's very easy to divert.
It's very easy to divert. You mean?
That's right. Very easy to divert for
So
me.
what's off the bat? I mean, what would make you divert from your goal? What would you say?
What will make someone to divert from a set goal?
Correct.
Or goals that they've set? Look, so many things. Life itself is dynamic, it moves.
Mm-hmm.
You can project into the future that this is what I want to do. All things being equal, but most often than not, things are not always equal. Okay, look at the situation that we are in now. There are no people that have planned marriages, that have planned different things. People want to travel on holidays, goals to achieve for this year. But look at the circumstances that we are in. Very unprecedented. Nobody can do anything.
No.
In my own secular area, I've got a lady that has started planning a wedding, but now everything is on hold. I have another person that's planning a birthday, a landmark birthday. They have to put it on hold. These are things that you said that you want to do. But because of the environmental factor, natural factor, even yourself can be a factor to not achieving your goal. You can be the cog in your own wheel to the path of achieving that goal. So many things. It can range from finances to your health to a family. Anything can take us away from our goal.
Mm.
But if we use that word, all things being equal,
Yeah.
and we put our mind to it,
Mm.
then, well, whether you believe me or not, I don't know. If you also pray as well, at least some sort of energy to kind of like push you forward towards that goal, definitely you will reach that goal.
That reminds me, talking about prayers, can you just say a quick 30 seconds prayer for the Prime Minister, please, to get well, please?
Yes, I can. We've been praying for him, and it's important that God heals him as quickly as possible. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity, even to lift up our voice concerning our Prime Minister, Boris Johnson. We commit him into thy hand, O Lord, and we ask that you heal him in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
COVID-19 has got a name. And your word says there is a name, the name of Jesus, that is bigger, higher, greater than any other name. Therefore, we raise the name of Jesus over COVID-19 upon his life. That Lord, that you take preeminent and you heal him now in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
That Lord, even by the close of day today, in the name of Jesus, it will be okay. In Jesus' mighty name.
Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you. I love the guy, because I love his leadership, and in these times of challenging times, he's been very strong. And there's some few examples. There's some few things you can learn from his character that we can apply in our lives after all these are over. And I hope that becomes a bigger picture. So just before we go, sir, just one more question. You said something that you said if you put your mind to something, if you put your mind to those goals, because the key point that you've raised is one, things compete with our time. We have to be determined, and we put our minds to the goals.
That's very correct.
Yes. So I just want you to close up. You still got 2 minutes.
Okay.
If there's anything you want to close up with, and then round up how people can get in touch with you, they need to reach you.
Brilliant. We just pray for Boris Johnson, and you said you like him. I love him too. And because he's got his mind set, when you have your mind set on something, you will achieve it. We can go back to his record in the last few months that he's been prime minister. There are so many suggestions here and there, but he kept his mind focused that this is what I want to achieve, and he achieved those things, and he's still achieving much. Anyway, to round up, it is very important to keep our mind in what we want to do. And again, identify what you want to achieve, your goals, write them down so that you can revisit them. Work out the processes. What do I need to do to get to where I'm going? So if you have to have marker points, whereby when you get to a point, you can tick it off. I've done this. That's another step towards my goal. Carry on working towards it. Another step towards it. Tick it off. And as much as possible, other things will come, because it's not going to be one thing in your life at that particular point in time.
Correct.
But do your time, maximize your time properly, apportion your time appropriately. If you need to give 50% to that and divide the remaining 50% of your time to other things, divide it. But most importantly, keep your head on. Distraction will come. Just try as much as possible. What is what they said is what doing well. Make sure you do it. Make sure you achieve it.
Amazing.
And with prayers, God will help you.
Thank you so much, Joseph. Please leave your contact details in the comments below so people can reach you for counseling or any help.
I will do. Thank you.
It's amazing.
No problem.
I'll speak to you next week. Thank you so much, Joseph.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
No problem at all. Bye. That was just an amazing Joseph. You can reach him and his contact details below. Today we're talking about how to follow through on your goals. We've got another amazing guest, Juliet. We're going to give her a call now. Just to summarize of what Mr. Joseph was saying, he talked about making sure that you put your goals in your mind. Make sure that you focus on them. As I was saying to you, if it's having a picture on the wall, make sure that picture is clear so you know exactly where you're going. and also make sure you don't get distracted. Yes, there's going to be a lot of distractions, but try to just ensure that you keep your eyes focused on that which you want to do. Because it's so important that you don't just, flow like from one tree to the other and just change your mind every 5 minutes. Okay? So it's fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. I'm enjoying this. It's like let's get this lady on board. So you can always please subscribe to our channel and like the press the like button at the bottom. And the thing is, the phone is just constantly ringing, so I'm trying to stop the people who are calling so they can make me. So please just hold on. If you're calling through now, please just hold on. I'm trying to call our guest, and I might need to go get a second phone. I think that would do the trick. So you're trying to cut people's calls so you can get through to the right person, but it's all good. This is Julia is always busy. So
Hello.
hey, hi Julia, this is Ronnie Jacobs. You live on air. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Ronnie. How are you?
I'm a
Founder
thank you,
of
thank you.
Council for Africa. Thanks
Yes,
for having me on your show.
nice, amazing. It's a pleasure to have you. It's a
Mm-hmm.
pleasure to have you. So today we're talking about how to follow through on your goals. So I just thought you introduce yourself to our audience. I've already told them how amazing you are, you know.
Okay.
So I just thought you round up quickly in 1 minute about just a little bit about what you do. I know you do so many things, and then
Yes.
give them some advice and feedback on how to follow through on their goals, if you don't mind.
Oh, thank you so much to everyone who is listening to us, and thank you so much to the previous key speakers. I'm following that, and my name is Juliet Macapilla, popularly known as the African Wonder Woman, and
Yes, that's true.
I love to just describe myself as a community change maker, and mainly community transformer and community educator. I'm also a model by background, and I think that's about it. And mainly here in United Kingdom, love to work with the youth, and especially also entrepreneurship skills, improving entrepreneurship
Mm, mm,
skills
yeah.
for women,
Mm,
especially local women.
mm,
Yes, so that's a bit about myself.
mm. So why do you have so much passion in youth development? Ever since I've known you, you've always had this passion to help the youths.
Oh, thank you. Because I believe that when we embrace the youth together and we're able to promote talent within the youth, we grow together. And I believe that the youth are not just the youth for tomorrow. For
Mm,
tomorrow, I
mm,
believe the youth are here for today.
mm,
But if we can build the youth as we grow older, then I feel that we give them very good foundations in terms of the spirit in which we grow, the
yeah.
spirit of making our environment a beautiful place. Our planet is our planet for all. So I
Mm,
believe that the talents for the youth needs to be uplifted, and we need to create great
mm.
innovation within the youth.
So you think the youths? Sorry, do you want to say something about the follow through, or should I just carry asking questions? Because I've got so many questions to ask. So I just thought.
Oh, you can ask me anything. Yeah, go
Okay,
ahead.
I was going to say, we're working with the youths. Do you find that they struggle to identify where they want to go, or what is their biggest challenge? You think?
Oh, yes, I do think that the youth need support. I do think that the youth need good mentors and good coaches. I do think that the youth have great skills if they are supported and have that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always at the forefront of calling upon the government to support our youth. You will
Yeah,
see loads of advocacy from myself and
yeah,
asking loads of coaches to support the
yeah,
youth.
yeah.
So I think with great partnership, I think our youth struggle to find their true sense of being. But I think that, or let me say, I think when they find that kind of person who is able to embrace their uniqueness, embrace their ideologies and stuff like that. I think you have great youth, and I believe that we need father figures, youth persons such as yourself. I know you do great work, especially with the teenagers,
Thank you.
and I
Yeah.
know that you run the cancer the health program all the way in Nigeria. Well done for that.
Mm.
So I think that the youth are constantly looking for somebody to look out for. So I always say to adults, I always say inspire somebody, inspire our youth. And I think it's greatness when you have
Mm.
the youth being supported. And we all have that kind of responsibility to look out for our teenagers, to look
Yeah.
out for our
Well,
youths. Yes.
yeah, but why do they? Because this all falls down to goal settings now. Because
Mm-hmm,
I'm looking towards the part whereby you say, first of all, the
mm-hmm.
youth they need guidance, that the youth need to find themselves, and we all the youth needs father figures. But why do they struggle to find themselves?
I think there's a lot of reasons
Yeah.
that brings the youth. I think the education system is one thing. I think the survival, like getting skills and getting the youths here, especially here in UK.
Mm-hmm.
I think getting them to have tangible qualities. I think
Mm-hmm.
the dilemma sometimes is, like let me say, it takes a village to grow a child.
Yeah.
If you're from Nigeria or Africa, that's something that happens automatically. But I think there's this sense of um, uh, permission that you can't even correct youth. Sometimes you have to think twice.
You're
You're
talking
gonna
about
grow that
parental guidance, no? Parental
parental
discipline.
guidance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that why do they struggle? I think sometimes it takes a lot of efforts whereby we need to create as community champions and leaders and change makers. We need to create a platform where the youth can tap into our skills and get that easy. So if you look at our community, sadly, sometimes you find the disunity, sometimes you
Mm.
find kind of
But
intercompetition where
if
they
I if
not.
I interrupt, I know you still got like
Mhm.
3 minutes left, and you've
Okay,
touched on something very sensitive about
right.
parental discipline, disciplining the child or coaching the
Mm-hmm.
child the right way, and but that also, because when we point a finger, we have to look at this a finger pointing back at us, and I
Mm-hmm.
and I always say the way the parent, the
Mm-hmm.
example the parent shows to the child
Mm-hmm.
has a big influence how the child molds the child and gives has a big influence on how the child is going to react and turn out.
Mm-hmm.
So if the child if before a father or a mother can discipline or coach and want to say, oh, don't do that, but the child sees the father doing that,
Mm-hmm.
that then becomes a conflicting instruction.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to put that out there anyway, so you can carry
Mm.
on.
I think that I would encourage I would encourage all guardians, I love to say guardians and parents as well,
Hmm.
to always do the best for their children. And I think that's what every guardian and parent wants for their children.
Correct. Yeah.
And I always use this example that even a drunkard parent would never wish their children bad. And I always say that with strong passion when I say that, because I don't even think if a parent was a thief would want their child to be a thief. So
I would,
should,
I would not be. Honestly, I mean, from the
yes,
from the information and from the, I would just say, let's just leave that to us. Let's just leave that and presume that that's how in the real world.
in
That's
the real world,
in the
that's what
real
I'm
world.
coming.
That's exactly because
Yes, in the real
normally,
world, that's
yeah,
what it should be.
you'd be
But we
shocked at
have
what some
seen,
parents will allow their kids to do and want their kids to do. It's just
yes,
sick
I,
sometimes.
I was going to come to that, but we have
Mm.
seen cases where we've seen very bad parenting, where we have
Yeah,
seen that
yeah.
some parents, even with these, if we outside a little bit, we've seen bad parenthood whereby we see children being encouraged to
I
become
know, I know.
sales
Hi,
of.
Juliet. Sorry, we can chat forever, but it's 4:30, and I need to call the next caller. It's been so amazing talking
Can
with
I
you.
just quickly tell
Please
you a
do.
story for what I wanted to leave you with on in terms of your topic, or is it
Okay,
too
go ahead.
early?
You got 1 minute and go
So
ahead. Yes.
So I wanted to leave you with the story of Wangari Maathai, who was a professor of Kenya. And Wangari Maathai always talks about the hummingbird. And I don't know if you know the story about the hummingbird.
Go ahead.
And so the hummingbird is known as, like you should, you
I'm
should,
so sorry, darling.
go for
I'm
what?
so sorry. I think we'll continue this because I'm having you on air next week. So we'll continue with this story if you don't mind, please. Because
So just think about this. Think about the opportunities that you've got and go for them
Amazing.
when you set your goals. So I
Okay.
was going to tell you quickly about the story of the
Okay.
hummingbird.
We'll continue on that next week. Thank you so much, Juliet. God
And
bless
thanks
you.
for having me on your show.
It's
Thank you.
amazing. Thank you.
See you
Bye.
later. Bye-bye.
That's one amazing lady. I said there's this lady has got so much information to give, so I have to try and take them in bits, so I don't take the whole lot, so they can drop them off. So next week we'll look forward to Juliet's amazing story. So now I got amazing Hanan on the line. I'm just going to give her a call and we'll continue on our topic today. We're talking about life coaching, how to follow through on your goals. Hello.
Hi, Ronnie.
Hey, Hanan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I missed you since last week. Feels like forever.
I know time's going so slowly. It's nice.
I know. The funny thing? I woke up, was it 2 days ago? I woke up at like 7:30.
Wow.
And I was like, I can't remember the last time I ever woke up. That was like 20 years ago. That was not good. Anyway, please just tell our listeners about you and so that they know who we're speaking to, please.
Okay, so I'm Hanan, and we're going to be talking about coaching. So just, I do a lot of different things, but one of the things I do is coaching. I have a very independent way of coaching, so not the way that is kind of advertised out there. I mentioned last week I don't work with paper. I only work with people on a 3-month basis, and I only work with people that I've been recommended to, or someone's recommended me to work with someone. So yeah, very restrictive.
Amazing, that's good. Today we're talking about how to keep the topic is I keep struggling to follow through on my goals.
Yeah.
So I'll let you just talk for a bit and make a few notes, and then we'll just go over some of the points that you make, if that's okay with you.
Okay. So I mean, for me, as I said, I don't work with paper, but the number one thing that a lot of coaches will say when it comes to attaining a goal is to write it down. I would say, if you're a person that needs to write things down, then of course that's the way to go. But as a coach in that respect, I would say, it's keeping your goal in the forefront of your mind. And not being able to achieve your goals would only come down to that you're giving yourself goals that are unachievable at any time. And always the best thing to do when you have a goal is to break it down and give yourself attainable and achievable goals in order to reach the big goal at the end, rather than saying, let's say, oh, tomorrow I want to put together a fashion show and I'm going to have, the best designers, etc. Well, there's a process. You're not just going to wake up on the weekend and have a fashion show put together. There's steps to go through. So it's breaking down the steps of the goal that you're trying to achieve. To me is the key factor in getting there.
I find that this particular goal setting topic that we're discussing is either scary or kind of just so it just looks kind of an imaginary thing for some people. It's like it's just such a big thing, to write down these goals or to imagine this goal or to set this goal. It just looks so hard. I mean, why is it just hard? I just don't get it.
But exactly. But you see, why is it hard? Is it really hard, or are you telling yourself that it's hard? It's and it just comes down to mindset. If you can dream it, then you can achieve it. I don't know who that I read that somewhere. Somebody.
I keep hearing that boxer Deontay Wilder keeps saying that as well. Yeah.
I'm going to take it as my quote for now. until I can figure out who actually said it. But
Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you have that one.
but it is a very true fact of life. If you can dream it, if you can envisage that, I want to be able to achieve this, whatever it may be, then you can do it. And yes, the only things that are going to hold you back are your mindset. Remember, we mentioned it last week. Fear.
Yes.
So fear comes in many shapes and forms and sizes. It's the fear of the unknown, the fear of failure, the fear of embarrassment, the fear of ego, and that's all it is. All your procrastinations, all your excuses, all your that perfectionism that you want, all the consistency that you achieve or lack of, all of that is fear playing out in different ways, and it's all in your mind, and it's controlling that. So if you have limited mind control, and you allow, your mind is like a prison, and if you live within that prison of your mind and you don't live outside of the box, a bit outside of your comfort zone, then you're always going to live a limited life, and you're always going to procrastinate and have excuses as why you cannot achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve in life.
And then blame others and blame circumstances and blame,
yeah, of
blame
course.
the whole world.
I didn't have enough money, or I didn't know the right people, or I couldn't get the right materials, or I couldn't do it. Everything's available in this day and age. Praise be to God Almighty. Everything is available at the touch of a button. At the touch of a phone call. Everything is there. We just need to go out and get it. And stop making excuses.
I mean, you made a very key point there that everything is available, and I say that because we do a lot of work in Africa, and when you compare the circumstances and the environment where people are struggling and trying to achieve their dreams in some areas compared to developed countries, you start to wonder, really?
Yeah.
However,
what was that? You don't have access to a telephone? Like, are you serious? And you really do have to look at countries that like the continent of Africa, the different countries and the availability that they have, and how they make things work and how they make things succeed. And here we are in a developed country with everything at our fingertips, and we procrastinate and we make excuses and we worry about X, Y, and Z. It's just the world that we're brought up in our heads. Not the world, the outside world. It's the world that we create in our mind, that little bubble that we put ourselves in. That's what holds us back from achieving our goals. And that's why a lot of people, like to work with coaches, or and they like to have someone there who helps them step out of that, step into their, uncomfortable zones in life, and see things in a different light, if you like. Like I mentioned last week, the way I work in terms of coaching is that I 9 times out of 10, I'm literally repeating back what I've been told by my client. And when I say it, but I'll say it obviously in my own words, they'll go, yeah, that's exactly what I mean. I'm like, yeah, but that's exactly what you just said. And they're like, oh, did I? I'm like, well, yeah, these were your words. I've just, made them put them in a different format, and you've just heard them differently, but they are your words. And it's amazing when that, the penny drop moments at that point where they go, oh, and and that's all it is. It's hearing things. You could have the greatest idea in the world, and you'll find every excuse under the sun as why you can't achieve it. But then someone might come to you with that same idea and say, you know what, I was thinking that you might be able to do this and that. And you go, yeah, maybe. Because it's hearing things in different light. And we are so restrictive with ourselves, with the way we think about ourselves, with the way that we look at the world and how we think the world perceives us, with the way that we look at how to achieve things and seeing how other people do it. And then, we like to blame that we don't have the means. But everything is available, Ronnie. Everything is available.
I keep getting this question asked, Ronnie, you can say all that and all that. It's not as easy as you think it is, because it's not as easy as you think it is.
It is. Just need to get a coach like me.
Exactly.
I'll prove it to you.
Yes. And
You know,
definitely.
it is really true. Sometimes you are stuck in that mindset of it's not easy. But
Mhm.
all I would say to someone is, okay, contact me. I'll give you 3 months of my time, and let's see if it's not achievable.
Yeah.
You know, it's literally breaking things down. We are all stuck in our own little worlds, and sometimes we just need that kick up the butt to get us out of that little world, that world that we're stuck in, that says I cannot do or I cannot achieve. Or, you know, and as we mentioned this last week as well, is that some people do work very well when they're told they cannot achieve. But I think it's people, I think the main people that really do suffer are people that can achieve,
Mm.
have the means to achieve,
Mm.
but tell themselves that it's not attainable. They can't reach it. They
Mm.
can't do it. You know, and the ones that have limited resources or limited availabilities around them for money, for people, for whatever, they're the achievers because they've got a point to prove.
Mm.
You see what I mean? So I
Amazing.
think people, yeah, it's very bizarre how the world, how humans, how we work as individuals.
Mm.
But you know, but that's why life coaches come in handy. They can really help you kind of set attainable goals that help you in your quest of, you know, whatever your goal is to achieve it. I mean, some people I've worked with was just I had one young lady actually that I worked with, and her thing was she said that she couldn't talk to people. So I was like, okay, but you're talking to me. And she's like, yeah, I know, but I mean, you know, but you've come through, you know, I came through someone that
Mm.
she
Mm.
knew
Mm.
and
Mm.
etc. And I said, okay. So one of the things that I did with her, and it's really funny when I look back at it, but it was just like I kind of think on the spur moment, depending on each individual case. I've never done the same thing twice with people.
Yeah.
With this young lady, I met her in a supermarket. And I just said to her, look, I'm really sorry, but I need to do my shopping while we're doing the coaching. If you don't
Mm.
mind, we'll walk around the supermarket.
Okay.
And I basically made her speak to about 20 people in the
No,
supermarket,
you didn't.
asking, asking where things were and asking what the time was. And I said, oh, can you ask them where the spaghetti is? I don't know this store. So they can literally, so by the time we walked out of there,
Mm.
I said to her, how many people did you speak to that you can't speak to?
Mm.
You know,
Wow.
she's
Amazing.
and it, literally, you know, like as I say, the penny drops, and they're like, she's
Mm.
like, oh,
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
yeah,
I'm going to have to cut you short.
no
Sorry.
problem, no problem, my
Yeah.
dear, no
Thank you
problem.
so much. And
Thank
definitely,
you
Hannah
very much for
Spears.
the opportunity, as always.
Nice. That's fantastic. Looking forward to talking to you again next week. Thank you so much.
Okay,
God bless
okay,
you.
brother, take care. Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much again.
No worries.
Bye bye.
Oh, amazing, 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 amazing. You just learn so much when you're talking to amazing people, and you just keep getting consumed, and it's like I'm in school. I'm educating myself. So now we're just gonna give a call. Our last caller today is Angela, another amazing, amazing lady who's just gonna amazing life coach as well. We've got all these professional life coaches educating us and empowering us. All these cost money. You know, you're getting it for free.
Hello.
Hi, Angie. How are you?
I'm good. How's it going?
It's going amazing. I'm just like, I'm getting filled up. I'm going to be a life coach in a minute.
That sounds very positive.
Oh, dear. Please tell our listeners about yourself and your business, and then we can continue.
Yeah, no problem. So I'm a business and personal coach. So in general, just a life coach. And I really focus on the power of our words and our language and how that influences our thoughts, not actions, our behaviors, and then really drill into some neuroscience and sort of understanding why and how habits form. And I work with clients on a whole range of issues. So predominantly career change, transition, but also sort of relationships or just wanting to find some general direction and make a general change happen in their lives. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
So we're talking today about, the topic really is, I keep struggling to follow through on my goals. I've had 3 guests talk so far. So I think I'll just let you talk for a couple of minutes, and then we can just go over some of the key points that you've kind of raised. Is that okay?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, go ahead.
Brilliant. Yeah, so you know what? Actually, saying that, I've noticed myself scrolling a lot more on social media than I usually do, given the free time. And I think a lot of people are in that same boat right now. And I think it's all very much of how we choose to look at choose being the key word, choose to look at the situation we're in. And many of us feel pressure from many different directions to be achieving things, when for some people just get through the day is actually the biggest achievement. So one thing I've noticed just in talks with, you know, my friends, for example, is that they always say, oh, I should be doing this and I should be doing that, and I should be still outside working out, and I should be working on this goal, or I said I was going to do that, and why haven't I? Should be doing it. And I wrote a blog post on this piece, actually, that if we just change the word from should to could, we regain our control and our power over that choice. Because when we say should, it's as if there's this invisible external force that's pressuring us, you know, and that could be social media, like it might be friends, family, but normally that there isn't actually that pressure. We just interpret it as pressure that we should be doing what other people are doing. Whereas if we kind of switch it and think, actually, I could go for a run today, suddenly it's like, I could. If I choose not to, maybe it's because I want to have a rest day. You know, I could start writing that book today. Actually, yeah, let me set a goal for today. You know, that even that simple switch just remotivates self. And then I also think another key thing is that we just generally, not always, but we tend to have these big goals, you know, like I'm going to write that book. Well, that's a big thing, you know. And yeah, so actually, you know, thinking about how do you break something down into bite-sized chunks so that, you know, you can get your wins in the day that encourage you to keep doing that habit of writing a couple of pages every day, things like that. I think those are two of the, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, even the guest that we had before, Hanan, also talked about making the goals smaller, so that it's achievable, so you can do them, because sometimes, yes, you have a big picture goal, but then to achieve it is in small bits.
Exactly.
And that
and I also think, you know, we sometimes are very unforgiving of ourselves. So, you know, the way we're having to navigate this whole new situation of being indoors and routines, you know, we actually need to be trying to, if we want to achieve, you know, we set ourselves a goal or a plan, then actually for many of us, you're needing to create new habits to make those happen. You're in a different space potentially for your work, and you need to stay focused, and you've got the TV as a distraction, and, you know, so it's actually being kind to yourself is the first thing. And if you don't do what you set out to do on the first day, doesn't mean that it's all gone to pot, you know. Just try again tomorrow. That's also another, I think, a key thing, you know, that as long as you get back on it the next day and try, you know, even if it's just show up. That's the main thing. Show up. Therefore, your habit that you're trying to build will be consistent, and you'll be building that slowly. Does that make sense?
It makes absolute sense. I mean, you're hitting on so many important words, and I'm just keep looking at. I wish we had more time, but we still got another 5 minutes. But you talked about just showing up. I think just showing up, first of all, is giving us the mindset that we are not giving up. We're showing up because we want to continue to be persistent to achieve that which we want to achieve.
Exactly. And yeah, as I was saying, if anybody is interested in, you know, doing some extra reading, there's a wonderful book called Atomic Habits. And in that book, the author mentions about the fact that it's, instead of the goal that you're aiming to achieve, like I'm writing a book, it's like you're actually, the identity is I'm a writer, and a writer who is going to write a page today. Because when we say I'm writing a book, it's all very goal focused, you know. And actually what we're trying to work on is a goal that's more about self, you know. So I'm somebody who shows up every day, you know. I'm somebody who will write a page every day. That can be a knock on if you're writing a book, for example. And you build it that way. But I think sometimes we try to be like, right, I've got this goal and I'm going to do it. And I think really, you know, if we all set our mind to doing things and did them on the first go, then all of us would probably be multimillionaires and had no troubles in their life, you know. So yeah, we can't just rely on motivation. We have to understand what drives us. And you know, a lot of the times we do things, or we don't do things because of how we feel. You know, I don't feel like it. And understanding that process. So yeah.
So just going back to how you offer your services, I mean, how do you work with your clients? Is it over the phone, online, or one-to-one? Just in case people are
Yes.
listening and they would
Yeah,
like to.
so you've got two of them. Yeah, so on the phone, online obviously is the only way right now.
Yes.
So yes, so sort of Skype or Zoom, generally, and then obviously one-to-one, face-to-face, which is where I work with most of my clients. But obviously, right now, a lot of that is shifting online because just necessity. So yeah, so all three ways really, and my coaching is very interactive with lots of tasks. So you're doing things as a way to help, reinforce the thoughts and the processes that you're working with as you go through coaching. So yeah, it's just really important from a coaching perspective.
So the time scale is it depending on the individual?
Yes, 100%. Okay. Like as I said, we break coaching into transformational and transactional coaching. And transformational, which is more the really understanding kind of your processes, like your identity. You really want to change habits. Like some coaches will have a certain time period. It depends on your goals. It really does. Some people need 3 sessions and it'll be a short coaching sort of transactional thing for over maybe a month. And then others are like, I'd like to work with you over a 6-month period or a year period, and we meet once a month. It really just depends on the needs of the client, really.
Amazing. I'm learning so much from you, and I'm so glad that our fingers, our paths is crossed.
Yeah,
and I hope that we'll get to when I'm actually, what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make sure I invite you to my show when after all this, so you can talk to the huge crowd. That sounds great. That would be amazing.
I am there. Whenever we're allowed outside again.
I can't wait. I just can't wait.
I know.
I was saying to myself that as soon as this is over, I'm sure there's going to be so much parties. There's going to be like this, like the millennium kind of breakout of coronavirus kind of big thing.
Yeah, I think you've nailed it. That's what everybody's going to want to do.
Amazing. Thank you so much. We'll be talking to you next week. And please leave a link to your book. You said you wrote a book. Did I hear you correctly?
No, it's an author called James Clear. He wrote Atomic Habits.
Okay, please just leave that in the comments below so that people can actually go and search for it. And so
I will do.
Thank you so much. Speak to you next week.
No
Thank you, Angie.
Speak to you next week. Bye.
Bye. What an amazing show. Just amazing people, amazing audience. Thank you all so much. And I'm so sorry for those who've been trying to call. It's just a 1-hour show, and there's just not really enough time to take the calls and then talk to the guests for as much. Maybe as we go along, we can make it 90 minutes, and then we can have more time to take in your phone calls. So please don't be offended I couldn't take your calls, and that's for that. So we spoke today to Joseph Oladele, who is an amazing gentleman. We spoke with Juliet Makileapa. We spoke to Hanan Pears and Angela Gort, who are both life coaches, and they talked about some very important topics. Today we talked about how to follow through on your goals. How do you follow through on your goals? We had so many examples. Joseph talked about making sure that the things that we do, we give ourselves enough time to complete them. We make sure we think about little things that we can do and be determined, and make sure that we put them in our mind all the time. We constantly have them in our mind, and we're constantly going over them all the time. And also we spoke with Juliet, who is has a passion for youth and youth development. She talked about the youth are struggling to find themselves, and we need to have father figures to help our kids. I personally think that's so important. That's why I love working with kids, because I think that we need to be a role model for them, to help them to grow and help them to really understand the respect and understand that, to achieve what you want to achieve, it's not always easy. You have to work hard to achieve what you want to achieve, and then yes, you can achieve it. We spoke with Hanan, and Hanan talked about she made some very key points. She talked about making sure that you keep your goals in front of you, break your goals down into small pieces, follow through on the steps that you take, and make sure you identify what you're afraid of and try to work to overcome those fears. Now, you can reach Hanan, contact her below. Hanan's details should be in the comment section, whereby you can talk to her and she can give you more details. Don't forget, this is just a 10-minute chat, and a life coach is very difficult for a life coach to be able to solve all your problems in 10 minutes. So I think the more you get in touch with them, the more you can talk to them. It's just no harm. And I also spoke to Angela. Actually, Angela talked about changing the word should to could. That just blew my mind, actually. Instead of saying, "Oh, I should be doing this. I should go jogging. I should go for a walk," you change it to, "I could go for a walk. I should start looking for a job. I could start looking for a job." It just changes the whole dynamics of the whole thing. It just frees you up and make your goals smaller. And another key thing Angela also talked about is self-forgiveness. Learn to forgive yourself. Don't hit yourself and kill yourself over mistakes that you make. Everyone makes mistakes. Don't kill yourself when you make this little small error you think that is the end of the world, that there's no other tomorrow. Life goes on. I'll give you an example about myself. When I first said I was going to make a feature film, it was like, wow, you're going to actually make a feature film? How are you going to do that? Where are you going to start from? How are you going to... There was all these things, all these reasons not to do it were just coming in my head. And I now said, okay, first thing I did, I write things down. I just wrote down, okay, this is the film I'm going to do. I just started writing this story. While all the doubts and all the fears and all that was trying to come and take over, I was just writing down the story. And I finished writing down the story, and I said, okay, now next thing we're going to start doing the script. And the next thing we just started doing the script. And the next thing, all the learning and all the information and I started learning about how to do this. And gradually, all of a sudden, I just became this so confident, and it just looked so easy to do. And I'm thinking, to me, whatever I'm doing in life, I see it as it should be an example to everybody else that you can achieve what you set your mind to achieve. Nothing is impossible for you to achieve. There's nothing that you can't do. There's nothing that you say, oh, I want to do this and I can't do this and I can't do that. No. Everything that you want to achieve in life, if you set your mind to it, if you're persistent and you keep doing it, if you have a goal, break down the goal into small bits. Start working those small bits. Remember what Angela said? Angela talked about turning up. Turn up the next morning. Turn up the next day. You fell down, you fall forward. You get up, you go again. You fall down, when you get up, you'll be one step ahead from where you fell from. Think about that. And then you go again. There are so many people that can count on their fingers how many things I have done wrong. And I'm so happy about that, because the more they're counting how many things I'm going wrong, it shows I'm doing more things to go right, more things to go forward. So rather than focusing on what people are going to say negatively about you, remember what Hanan said last week, use those as motivations to push you forward. Write your goals, identify them, break them into small bits. In 2020, I'm going to do this little small piece. Next year, I'm going to do another small piece. If it takes you 10 years to get there, at least you're on the way to get there, or to getting there. There's no hurry. There's no hurry because Joe Blogg has bought a brand new house and a fantastic car, and he's got his life sorted out. You now start feeling depressed and feeling sad that you haven't achieved anything in your life. Everyone's got a different path, and everyone's got a different goal, and everyone's got a different life, and everyone's got a different star. Your star is not different from my star. I'm not Donald Trump. I'm not a multi-billionaire. His star is different from my star. His time to achieve something different from mine. You might have a parent that gives you a massive inheritance. So how am I going to compete with that coming from nothing? Think about it. I don't know your circumstances that have made you to achieve what you want to achieve. I don't know how hard you've grafted to help you to get to where you are right now. So why should I compare myself to you? Why should I compare my success or my challenges to your success or your challenges? The most important thing is understand yourself. Don't kick yourself. Don't feel bad about your mistakes. You've got this thing you want to achieve. You can do it. No more excuses. Take it from me. No more stop doubting yourself. You can do it. Go for it. Start today. Start today. Even if it's just a piece of paper you take, and if it's just an understanding, and you say to yourself, okay, instead of saying the word should, from now I'm going to say the word could. You've made one major change in your life. My name is Ronnie Jacobs. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and like put some comments below. And please, I'm sorry we couldn't get your calls today, but we'll do our best to try and get them as we go along. And thank you so much. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave a like, and let's help the channel to grow, and we can do more. I love you all so much. One love is Ronnie Jacobs from The Ronnie J Show. That's amazing.